sentence, which can be used with amazed subject, okay? And then the next question, tick the correct ones. Do you think the subject here refers to somebody or something? Draw attention, somebody or something, okay? So usually it's what? Somebody. Somebody is amazed, right? Somebody, rather than something, is that right? Okay. Okay, and then you do the same for amazing. For amazing, circle the subject for amazing. Okay, again, after this you have to ask them, well, whether the subject refers to somebody or something. Both. Both. Actually, the subject used with amazing can be both somebody and something. Okay, so that's why they're often confused. Okay, and then try it yourself. Then summarize language patterns. Small group work, exploratory activity. Well, usually, like amazed can be summarized in 3 usages. Okay, you can do the first one for them, and then ask them to do this, to provide the second, the next 2. And then you ask them to do the same for amazing. So you can see that. When I say you need to guide the students, actually, it needs lots of thinking and design behind. Okay, step by step. Okay, try to scaffold them to learn from the easiest to from the simple one to more complex one. Okay, and try to be coherent. Okay, and next we try to make students pay attention to, the form ed-ing. Actually, it is also associated with some particular meaning. Okay, but when we use ed adjectives, it refers to what? Describe how people feel. We use ing adjectives to describe how people or things which have an effect on them. Right? Okay. And then finally, you can ask them to do some, so now they have differentiated, amazed, amazing. They can extend the learning to other similar adjectives, like excited, exciting, bored and boring, similar nature, right? Okay? Well, we can do some oral and writing tasks to consolidate learning. Okay? Now I'm not going to show you. You can just take a look by yourself. Okay? So that's one example I'm going to show you. And also our MATESA students, one's made by Angel. It's wonderful. Okay?
Hello everyone. Our lesson plan focuses on collocations with make and do. Our target learners are upper primary students. The corpus that we used for this lesson plan is COCA. And the reason that we decided to teach the different usage between make and do is that many Chinese students are confused with the differences in the definitions of these 2 words, simply because they will be translated into the same character in Chinese. We created our lesson plan based on the 4 principles that Dr. Ma has given to all of us during the corpus workshop. The steps of the 4 principles are as follows. The first step is to test students' knowledge and detect lexical errors. The second principle is to provide students with hands-on corpus searches and help them look for language patterns. The third step is to encourage inductive discovery by students and ask them to summarize language patterns. And finally, the teacher will provide output exercises for students. Let's first discuss testing students' knowledge. So, in the beginning of the lesson, we will divide the class into groups of 4 and ask the students to match the words with pictures and put the words in the right boxes. The matching part of the picture here is a bit too busy. So instead of having so many words and pictures, you may reduce it to 12 of them. You don't have to use the exact words in this picture. In the real classroom, the teacher may use this opportunity to test students' knowledge on the vocabulary they learned in previous lessons. Then, of course, ask them to put the words in the correct columns. The reason that we use this picture with colors and not using the traditional way, for example, mix and match words, is just because we want the students to have a bit more fun doing this activity, and we want to engage them better. The purpose of this activity is for the teacher to detect lexical errors. Therefore, the teacher's reminder here is that once the teacher identifies a knowledge gap from this activity, he or she may write the students' wrong collocations on the board so that everyone can see them, and tell the students that these are some of the mistakes you guys made. We'll come back to them later. Now, the teacher may help the students summarize language patterns. He or she may provide 2 tables as handouts to students. Table 1 for words that collocate with make, Table 2 for words that collocate with do. Then ask the students to summarize the words and find the differences of definitions between make and do. As you can see, there are 10 words on each table, and we've chosen easier words for students to work with. If the teachers still find that students are having trouble summarizing the language patterns, he or she may provide some scaffolding with the class. For example, if you make something, is there a result? Yes. For example, if you do something, is there a result? Maybe not. What are the examples? What's another word for make, etc. We don't expect students to summarize the language patterns themselves. The purpose of this exercise is to train students to be more responsible for their own learning. The teacher may then summarize language patterns with students and explain the different usage of make and do. With more examples, we won't talk about the details here. But now that the students understand the different usage between make and do, the teacher may go back to the board and correct the students' wrong collocations with the whole class and explain why they're wrong. Once the students understand the different usage between make and do, the teacher may demonstrate to students how to do a search with the Corpus tool. Then ask the students to do a search themselves. But because they are upper primary students and they may have trouble making sense of some collocations, just ask them to do a search and click on the words that are the same as the ones on Table 1 and Table 2, and ask them to discuss the sentences with their partners. What we're trying to do here is to put the words make and do and their collocations in context. After they're done, the teacher may give examples of make and do sentences with the whole class. The output activity is to have the students work in pairs. Then we may ask them to summarize the story doing time orally in 2 or 3 sentences and discuss make and do collocations. Here is the story doing time. It has a lot of make and do collocations in it, as you can see. All the collocations here are in italic. Some are easier and others are more difficult. And the students don't have to discuss all of them. The teacher may use another color and bold the collocations that he or she wants the students to talk about. Here's the teacher's reminder. Ask the students to pay attention to tenses of make and do. When the students are having a discussion among themselves, the teacher may walk around the classroom to check for understanding and to help struggling students. The teacher then may summarize the story with the students and talk about the collocations with them. Here is a summary of the story entitled Doing Time. It is about the author making mistakes in public. She talked about 2 mistakes she made. The first mistake was like this. When she came out of the building, she didn't remember where to go, whether to turn left or to turn right. The second mistake goes like this. She drove her car to buy a desk. When she finished shopping, she mistakenly thought that someone else's car was hers. Now, the story is a bit too long, but the teacher doesn't have to show the whole story to the class. There are actually 2 examples in the passage, so the teacher can just show one incident, for example, which is just the first 2 paragraphs, and highlight 5 collocations with make and do for the students to discuss in class. For homework, students work in pairs to write a 100-word story about a funny mistake that you or your classmates made in public. Use at least 5 expressions of make and do in your story. The purpose of the pair work output activity and homework is to get the students to use the collocations of make and do in context. Previously, when the teacher asks them to do hands-on corpus search, we got them to look at the collocations of make and do in sentences. Now, we're getting them to look at the collocations in a passage. And then, we ask them to write expressions of make and do themselves using a funny story. Essentially, we're trying to develop a learning curve for the students so that they can build up their skills bit by bit. Thank you for watching. Hello everyone, our lesson.
So that's all, okay? It's a 7-minute video, but actually I quite like this lesson. Okay, it's very contextualized learning and try to also this kind of fun element in it, right? And the step-by-step guidance are provided clearly by the teacher, okay? Here is an example, but I'm not going to show you. This is also quite interesting. This example is for secondary school student, okay? Students overuse certain words like important to vary in the writing a lot, right? Okay, so how can we help students to find other alternative words, to replace important to vary? Okay, I think actually there's some. I mean, in design of this exercise, I see some creativeness. Okay, it's quite original, so you can do watch by yourself. Okay, so these all lesson plans are designed by our students. Okay, so I hope you can do that. Okay, but these are MA students. Okay, but I'm sure BL students, or other, you can do the same. Okay, all right. So there are many examples for you to follow, okay? Well, from our experience, I think it's better, to do corpus searches. You need lots of time, okay? So we think that's better to do pair work. So you find a pair to work with you, okay? Who share maybe the same ideas, right? And who you know better, right? Okay? So you have to decide on the grouping. Just put your name there. Okay, right. Okay. If you would like to invite a local teacher, for example, some of here we have some local teachers here. Okay, maybe you can talk to a letter. Okay, letter whether you would like to join you. Okay, if you want to invite, you can invite a local teacher. Okay, as a consultant. Okay, to help you to design the lesson. Okay, and if you do that, you can just click on this match form, and you can input some information. Okay. And here, okay, so I already saw some students, okay, that type in the names there. Okay, good, okay. So you have to complete the grouping by February 1st. So that means you still have 1 more week to do, okay? All right? And notice that we have set up a deadline for each task, okay? For example, so the grouping is for February 1st, Friday, okay? So midnight, okay? All right. And you have to submit your group design, your pair design, by February 12th, Tuesday, midnight. It's mandatory group work, okay? How do you submit? Very easy. Just type here. For example, like group 1 design, for example, okay? And then you can attach a file, PDF better. You can use Word file, doesn't matter, okay? Right, okay, so you attach a file, okay? Then you upload, post, okay? Then you have to do that. So deadline is February 12th, okay? All right, and afterwards, I think it's better to share and learn, give comments together, okay? So next task is you comment on each other's group work. So I give you 1 day, so you have to comment on at least 2 other groups' work. For example, if you group 1, you comment on group 2 and 3's work. And you just write about 100 words. What do you appreciate or what do you think can be further improved? Okay, very easy, okay? So the deadline is February 13, Wednesday, and midnight, okay? All right, and then based on other groups' comments, we'll also give you some comments, okay? Then you revise it. Then you should be ready to present your group work on February 15th. So the location is provided, time is provided here. And we'll give you further comments to improve your lesson. Okay? And you're going to submit your finalized lesson plan on February 22nd. So we still give you 1 more week to improve. Okay? All right. Okay. And these are for student participants. For school or teacher participants, if you're interested in joining our activity, write to us, okay? And actually it's free for you to, if you just register, you can see all the students' work, okay? And you're most welcome to provide your comments, okay? And if you want to also upload your work, we are most welcome. Just write to us, okay? We also, let your work appear in our Schoology, okay? So that can be shared by our students, okay? Right, okay. So that's for the arrangement. Do you have any questions? Any questions about the workshop, about the online session, or anything else you would like to know? Oh, so finally, okay, can you just spend 1 or 2 minutes evaluating our workshop? We only have 7 Likert scale questions. Just click, 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 okay? And then 1 open question. It just takes you 1 minute, okay? So you can just use your mobile phone to do the evaluation. And meanwhile, if you have any questions, please, you're most welcome to ask. Okay? Any questions? Most welcome. Sorry, I didn't make you talk, okay? I thought I might not have enough time. Next time I will try to have at least one interactive activity, okay? So any questions? And for schools, if you are interested in trying out this new language pedagogy, please contact us. We're happy to provide, more consultancy and more help to your school, okay? So you have no more questions? Yeah, sure. Okay. Everything clear? Yeah. Yes, yes. You have a question? More like it. Yeah, you can come to the front, okay? Okay, just let me count quickly. How many of you would like to design lesson plan? Raise your hand. Just at this stage. 1, 2, 3, 4. Only 4. Right. Well, I understand that some of you are not able to come because maybe the students are having class. So we're going to upload this workshop online. So those students who miss this workshop can also watch this workshop, okay? Online, okay? So any questions about the workshop, about online session, about your lesson plan design? Okay. Have you all left an email? Because we're going to send the PowerPoint to you via email. If you haven't left an email, please leave your email with us. And also for those teacher participants, you can come and collect your teacher certificate, okay? A certificate for attendance. If you have you all left your email address, we're going to email you all materials.